I'm going to talk about some of the things that narcissistic baby boomers do to sabotage your life. Now, narcissistic baby boomers, their number one priority in your life is to make yours miserable. You see, narcissistic baby boomers, narcissism in general, but baby boomers have a special kind of narcissism. It's an extreme, in what I've noticed, it's an extreme entitlement that's just beyond human comprehension. And I think more people in this world are waking up to it, especially millennials, younger people, Gen Z. We're all waking up to the inherent narcissism that the baby boomers have. Whether they got it from their parents or they were just born with it, you can't deny the inherent narcissism and degeneracy that is just within, it just seems the fiber of every person in this generation. It's like it's encoded, it's embedded into their DNA to be as narcissistic and selfish as humanly possible. It just seems like it's just like their inherent trait. Like they can't not be this way. And I'm going to tell you some of the things from my own experience, from my own narcissistic baby boomers, parents that I grew up with. There's some of the things that they've done to sabotage my life. Because I get this all the time. Why aren't you farther ahead in life? Why aren't you farther ahead in life? Why is it just, I don't understand why you're not farther ahead in life. I'll tell you why I'm not farther ahead in life. A big reason for that, I'm not saying it's all their fault, it's a big part, is because I had parents who made it their number one priority to sabotage my life, to make my life miserable, to bully me growing up, to sabotage my life, to put me in literal special ed class. Let's talk about the first thing that I had to do with growing up with these people. Growing up with these people, when you're raised by narcissistic parents, you display symptoms that are similar to someone with autism, that are similar to someone with Down syndrome. You display symptoms like ADHD, which I believe, I'm not a doctor, but I believe firmly that a lot of these people with ADHD, a lot of these people with fidgeting hands and all this anxiety and these mental problems are due to the parents. Their parents stress them out. Their parents sabotage their life. Their parents do things that make them a nervous wreck. Like for my case, for example. Growing up, my parents would do things such as, my mom, for example, scream at me was one big thing. Constant screaming, constant yelling, constant this, constant that, constant bickering about everything. That was one of the things that I constantly had to deal with. Constant bickering. I never knew what kind of mood my mom was going to be in. Ever. Never knew what kind of mood she was going to be. It was impossible. It was impossible to know what kind of mood she was going to be. It was literally always something different. That was one of the things that I constantly had to grow up with. It's constant different moods. With my mom especially. If she wasn't, she was mad one minute, annoyed the next minute, confused the next, and it was just a mixed array of emotions. When you're constantly having a mother who is displaying hot and cold emotions, hot and cold behavior with you, you never know what type of behavior she's going to use. Either she's going to be in a good mood, or she's going to be in a bad mood, or she's going to be in a happy mood, or she's going to be in a sad mood. It's up and down, but it's up. It's like the most insane emotional roller coaster. It's like getting in a relationship with a crazy girl, right? Except it's a relationship. It's like, imagine getting into a relationship with the craziest girl you've ever met, which most likely means she has a personality disorder. Honestly, she's that crazy. But just imagine getting into the craziest woman you've ever met. Just imagine 20 plus years of that. Like that's what it's like being with a narcissistic mother, a narcissistic, possibly histrionic mother. I don't know. I'm not a doctor, but from what I've looked up, she displays symptoms of histrionic disorder and extreme narcissism and sadism, especially the sadism. But yeah, it was various things that I would have to go through: screaming, yelling. It would be pushing me around, but any kind of bullying, name calling. A lot of gaslighting, a lot of confusion, a lot of lying. A lot of gaslighting to make me doubt my thoughts, doubt my knowledge of certain events, doubt my feelings, especially. If she would say something that hurt my feelings, or if she'd do something that hurt my feelings, she'd say, "Oh, you're not feeling that way. You know, I didn't do that. I never did that. I never said that." Gaslighting. You know, another big thing that she used to do, which still fucks me up to this day, is my mom and my parents both do this, is they would hide my things. The number one way that my parents would sabotage me would be to hide my things. And this started very young. It started when, the first time I remember it really happening, it started when I was around 5 or 6 years old. And very first thing I remember going missing from recollection was I was playing with a friend. I had a friend over. We were playing cards. He brought over Kingdom Hearts. We played that a little bit. Good times, by the way. Very few good times that I had in my childhood. But I also had my Yu-Gi-Oh cards. I had some really important cards. I had left them on the downstairs table. And, you know, before I knew it, it was his time to go. So he went and he left. He went out the door, and I went upstairs for a second to use the bathroom. Came down again, back downstairs to find my cards completely gone off that table. Nowhere to be found. Absolutely nowhere. Never found them. Never found them again. Very expensive cards. My mom blamed it on the neighbor. So I asked the neighbor, because he was on his bike. He was about to leave. I was like, "Do you have do you have my cards, man? If you just tell me if you have my cards. Did you take them?" He's like, "No." I was like, "You really didn't take them?" He's like, "No, I swear." I still feel bad. Emptied his pockets, didn't take them. That was the very first recollection I've had of that happening. This happened for years, by the way. Years this happened, until one day I actually caught my mom doing it. Now, that's another story. You can imagine how my world crashed down. Imagine doing that to a kid, and then a teenager, and then an adult for 20 plus years. 20 years you think you're going crazy, losing your things. 20 years, everybody, you're the brunt of the family joke. You're the family joke. 20 years of your things going missing, and you thinking you're going crazy, and this always happening no matter where you put your things. No matter where, even if you double check and you triple check and you take pictures, they go missing. And my parents, being the greatest actors in the world that they are, looking at me with a straight face, "I didn't take your things, honey," my mom would say. "I didn't take your things," my dad would say. Imagine the shock when I found out that they were doing it. You can imagine how fucked up that would make you. That's one of the big things that a lot of these narcissists will do, not just baby boomers. But that brings me to my other point. So, all these things that my parents are doing, all these abuse tactics, I would have these things called, I would do what's called stimming. I would pick my fingers, I would shake my head, make noises when I was a kid. All these things that I were doing, that I realized that I was doing all throughout my life, I realize now that they were essentially defense mechanisms against these people. But you know, to the school system, they looked like autism. To the school system, it looked like a learning disability. Because when I first started school in kindergarten, I wasn't learning anything. I was staring out the window. I was not focused. I was not paying attention. And of course, my mom, used this to her advantage. She used this to her advantage, and she had convinced the school system. She said the school system told her that's what that she should do to me. Is make me wait behind, is hold me back a year in kindergarten, and then put me in special ed classes for the rest of my life. That's what she said the school system told her to do. I call bullshit. I think she convinced the school system to do it. So you can imagine someone who was forced to grow up in special ed classes their entire life, never learning anything new, by the way, always learning the same thing over and over and over and over and over again. Can you imagine, Listen to what I'm telling you. Learning the same thing over and over and over and over again. Same math, same language arts, same science, same everything. Always needing assistant aides breathing down my neck every single moment of every single day. Okay? Not ever being allowed to move up in mainstream classes. Constantly watched over like I'm some kind of fucking retard. And then coming home, not learning anything because I'm not being taught by my parents, because my parents couldn't care less about teaching me, about helping me with my homework. My mom was too busy watching Grey's Anatomy or whatever fucking show she's seen 1,000 times, drinking wine. My dad would tell me to just ask my mom, because my dad was a fucking idiot. Didn't want to help me with that. Couldn't help me with homework. Imagine the shit that, imagine what that does to a kid. Imagine what that does to a developing brain as a kid. I am light years behind your average normal person that had good parents and, grew up in mainstream classes and was taught mainstream things and had loving parents and supportive people around them. I'm light years behind some of those people. So maybe that's not, I kind of got it off topic. Maybe that's not everything that narcissistic parents do, but it sure as hell is what mine did. But a lot of the other thing that narcissistic baby boomer parents will do, and narcissistic parents will do in general, is bullying. I went through a lot of bullying with my dad. A lot of bullying. Baby Brandon, Sugar Plum, like whatever fucking gross name that you can think of, Sweet Pea, or like whatever fucking stupid ass name that you can think of, like I was called. And then I would get, it would escalate to physical violence, sticking fingers in my ears, flicking me, squeezing my shoulders, other disgusting things like trying to force himself on me, trying to force kiss me, pinning me to the ground, trying to force kiss me on the ground. Okay? These are just some of the things that I've had to go through with him. And, I guess it's just me, like, telling more story. Like, this is a lot of me just telling my story, but narcissistic baby boomer parents, baby boomers in general, I find, are very sick people. They're inherently narcissistic. They're inherently selfish. They're inherently ego-driven to succeed at their goals, no matter the cost, no matter who they step on, no matter if it hurts future generations. This is why this is why I have no sympathy for most of the baby boomer generation. Like you have all caused this wreckage of an economy that we're in. This wreckage of an economy that's going to take generations upon generations upon generations to fix, if it gets fixed at all. If it gets fixed at all, which I don't even think it will. I don't feel bad for you guys. You guys have torn this economy from the inside out. You guys have run it to the ground and you've stepped on it. You've stepped on it. You've taken it and you stepped on it and you pulverized it into dust until it was nothing. And now, in most of your waning years, you still all have the audacity to tell us we're selfish. You still have all the audacity to tell us that we're not hardworking, that we need to spend less on avocado fucking toast, that we need to spend less on Starbucks coffee, that we need to spend less on going out with our friends, that we need to work harder. To all you baby boomers that say that, fuck you. That's what I say. Fuck you. Fuck you and fuck your generation. Fuck anybody in your generation that says that shit. Because we are some of the most hardworking people. We are some of the most hardworking people in recent years. All right? Most of you were given everything. A good economy, good jobs, silver spoon in your mouth. We have nothing. We're all working from the ground up. We're all doing the best we can to survive in this economy that you've made, in this economy where you've sucked up every single resource that you could possibly find and left us with nothing. We're doing the best we can. And there's nothing else we can really do, because it's going to take generations to fix this country. if it gets fixed at all. If America gets fixed at all. Not in my lifetime. Not in my lifetime. So, that's the video. I got a little off track. Hope you liked it. More of a rant, honestly. I'm just pissed off today, just thinking about all the shit that I've had to go through with my fucking parents, all the shit that we have to go through in this economy. So, leave a like if you liked it. Comment down below. I'll talk to you in the next one. Take care.